Father Hanwell, Dr. Perota, members of the prep faculty and administration, Board of Governors, parents, friends, guests, Maxwell Rhine, and the members of the class of 2011. And finally, to those of you almost as old as I am, welcome to the class of 1961. Now, I know for those of you in the class of 2011, you now have two questions in mind. The first is, why do I get a gorgeous blue garment while the rest of your faculty, with the exception of Dr. Perota, are all wearing drab black? The mistake they made was to choose a graduate school in light of its academic programs. I chose, as did Dr. Perota, a graduate school whose attire I would be proud to wear in the years thereafter. And so I went to Columbia and he to Fordham. My condolences to the rest of you in black. Your second question. I know after 4 years you know your faculty well. You know their moods, their feelings. And you're sensing that your faculty is not happy at the present moment. They're probably a bit uncomfortable because they see me up here on this stage. It was some 26 years ago, on Sunday, the 2nd of June, 1985, that I gave the first graduation talk to a group of Fairfield students. There was nothing memorable about it. I've forgotten everything that I said. And as soon as it was over, I left for Boston, where I was working in a small college just outside the city. And then 2 months later, quite out of the blue, it was announced that Father Charles Allen would become the headmaster at Fairfield. So if the older faculty are going through that horrible moment of deja vu all over again, let me assure Father Hanwell that despite the many unkind things I will say of you in the minutes ahead, I do not want to take your place. Let me assure Mr. Magden and Mr. Brennan, I don't want to take your place. No one wants to take your place. No, if I could change places, I would throw aside this gorgeous blue gown, put on a white jacket and a red carnation, and be a member of the class of 2011. I have been associated with Fairfield Prep either directly or indirectly for the last 34 years. And I have seen qualities in prep students, and now especially in prep graduates, that make me very much want to be a member of your prep family. Let me explain the 4 things that I most envy you for, and I hope will be a part of your lives for many years to come. The first is the academic skills that you have gained here at Fairfield Prep. For 4 years, your faculty have been working so hard to challenge you. And unless Mr. Jaffe has grown kind in his later years, unless Mr. Ford and Mr. Canowell do not go with science with the same enthusiasm that they had when we all started here at Fairfield Prep, maybe Mr. Zablowitz and Mr. Donovan are still not as enthusiastic about American history. Or maybe Ms. Bowen should not be the Ignatian Teacher of the Year. But I'm sure all of them have tried to give you skills. When you go out into the world, enthusiasm is important, hard work is important, but certain skills are so important. 2 weeks ago, Fairfield University gave an honorary degree to Dr. Brian Monahan. I knew Brian when he was a student here at Fairfield Prep. One of the nerdiest kids I ever met in all my years at the Prep. What is he now? Why did he deserve an honorary doctorate? He a member of the Prep class of '78. He is a Rear Admiral. He's the attending physician to Congress and the Supreme Court, and a leading researcher in the area of cancer trials. He is a young man who here at Prep developed skills, and when I asked him where he got those skills, he started reminiscing about Father Brissett's chemistry class. You only know of Father Brissett through your gymnasium, but he knew him as a person who wanted to convey a skill. Take those skills that you have achieved, go on to your own colleges and later graduate schools, hone them carefully, because with those schools that the Prep faculty have given you, you can do so much for others. The second gift that you have received is the gift of physical strength and athletic agility and alertness. Did I not read in this morning's newspaper that Prep beat Greenwich 10-9? Gentlemen, not good enough. I will call Coach Smallcase tomorrow and tell him, sir, roll up the score. 10-9 is just a little too close. But you come from the playing fields of Prep with great physical strength and mental alertness. Prize those gifts. Hang on to them for years to come. Someday, many of you will be fathers. You will have children. And they'll want to be lifted up, and that takes strength. Later, they'll want you to run by their side and to throw that baseball, football, whatever it is, back and forth. They'll want you to be coaches of their teams. And it takes strength and it takes alertness. Do not lose those gifts. And then someday, and I warn you, that horrible, horrible day, when that lovely teenage daughter of yours brings home her first boyfriend, his name will be Bobby. And he will be a sophomore at Fairfield Prep. And he will look you in the eye, and effectively he will say, "Step aside, old man. There's a new sheriff in town." Prize your strength, prize your agility, prize your alertness. Do not let cigarettes or alcohol or drugs or laziness or the excuse of aging stop you from being forever young. And then the third gift, your companionship. After 34 years of living in this community, what drives me crazy is over and over again Prep parents coming up to me saying, "Oh, my son graduated in 1980. And though he's been to college and graduate school and is now working, still his closest friends are the friends he made at Fairfield Prep. I'm not sure whether there's something in the water here, or maybe it's the food that Frank and Vivian serve, but it does a wonderful job of bringing you people together." Over and over again, when I would call Dr. Perota or Father Hanwell asking for suggestions, they would say, emphasize the way the class of 2011 has come together, especially under the good leadership that they have had, to form a united front in light of the difficulties they faced. Prize your companions. And especially on this special day, prize the presence of Ryan Brennan still amongst you, albeit in spirit. I didn't know Ryan, but I know the many prayers that the Jesuit community offered for him during the years of his sickness. But I've certainly known the Brennan family for my 34 years here. Prize the presence of one another, even those who no longer stand beside you, but are still so much with you in spirit. I'll get mad 30 years from now when your parents come up and say, "Oh, his finest friends are still those Prep guys." But it's a wonderful gift, and I envy you for it. And then last of all, I envy you because you are a supernatural class. People like Father Ryan, Father Egan, Mr. Stockdale, Mr. Gultieri, the other members of the theology program, and all of your teachers have tried to turn you into a supernatural being. One for whom life is not defined by ending in death. one for whom life is not defined in terms of the amount of money you make, but rather in the friends that you make, the good people that you help, the way you serve others. Father Egan put it so well in his sermon Thursday, Ascension Thursday. We literally want you to stand in the footsteps of Jesus Christ, and let that be your orientation. Now, there are a few last things I should do. Many of you have been thanking me for the lovely, lovely weather today, and I would just like to say you're very welcome. Also, the other day, I ran into a prep student whom I know he knows me, and I said to him, "What would you like me to say in your graduation speech?" And he said, "The one thing I would like you to do is mention my name." And so, members of the class of 2011, and Sam Anim, take those intellectual skills, take that physical strength, take the bonds of friendship that you have forged, take that supernatural vision of life, and in the words of St. Ignatius, go forth into the world ad maiorem Dei gloriam, to the greater glory of God. Thank you.